It's officially summer. Well, we have one more day left of school, but I think we're all pretty much checked out and in full summer mode and probably a little burnt out. I put way too much on my plate the past few weeks, and it probably would have been okay if everything went to plan, but nothing really did. And it caused a lot more work for me last week. So I was a complete ball of stress. And as sad as I am for this school year to come to an end, and as sad as I am to see my baby girl graduate from eighth grade tonight, I'm just really happy for summer to finally be here. And with summer comes family vacations. And I'm taking a pause right now to say if you have not planned a family vacation yet, make it a priority. Please do it this week. And you don't have to spend a lot of money if it's not within your budget. There are plenty of cheap options. And if money is really tight, then you can plan a staycation where you plan activities outside of the house every day you're off. But it's good for you, especially as a working mom, to get away from your home and get a break from all the home maintenance stuff that you have to do that is sure to distract you during your staycation. So plan something outside of the house. And if you need help with low budget items, Pinterest is a gold mine. I know I probably mention it on every episode, but there's so many free options out there. There's so many great ideas. Pinterest is a busy working mom's best friend. And having a vacation just really gives you something to look forward to. Our big vacation this year is Greece, and we're taking the kids. Instead of doing Sweet 16s, we've told the kids since they were little that we would go on an extra special vacation the year they turned 16 and that they got to choose our destination. So Ashley's turning 16 in September, and with my strong persuasion, she chose Greece. It's been on my bucket list since I was a teenager, so I'm probably a little more excited than the kids are. I'm going to be off for a full 2 weeks. And when I say I am going to be off from work, I mean I am going to be off from work. I will not be bringing my computer. I will not be taking phone calls. I am closing my computer on my last day of work, and I'm not thinking about work again until I log on in the morning. I am back to work. But taking a vacation for that long, or even just a week, takes some planning, especially if you want to be able to detach and disconnect. I started prepping for this time off weeks ago, which was my inspiration for this episode, sharing my tips on how to be able to detach from work while you're on vacation. But before we get into today's episode, I want to remind you of my free tech timeout guide for moms that is available for you today. It is filled with tips on how to set those boundaries with your cell phone so that you can create more time and more space in your schedule so that you could be more productive at work and so that you could be more present with your family, especially on vacation. So make sure you check out the show notes for that link. Are you feeling overwhelmed trying to juggle all the many hats you wear as a working mom? Do you want more quality time with your family without distraction of work and time alone to take care of yourself and your needs? Welcome to Mom Wife Career Life. I'm Kerri, a wife, mom of 3, and a recovering perfectionist. In this podcast, I will teach you how to create balance in your life by implementing healthy habits, organizing your home and your schedule, being intentional with your time and in your relationships, and most importantly, how to start putting your needs first because no one can pour from an empty cup. Grab that second cup of coffee, or if you're anything like me, your third. It's time to dive into today's episode of Mom Wife Career Life. I see way too many moms that are not able to detach and disconnect from work. I manage a few of them too. The ones that feel the need to check their inbox after hours and on weekends, that just don't feel right logging off until that last task gets done. Even if it means working well into the night, it's unhealthy. And I tell my team this all the time. I actually challenged one of my direct reports to not check her email while she was out for a few days. And you know what happened? Life went on. The world didn't end. And she felt so much better and more relaxed after having that time to not think about work. We all deserve that mental break. And your family really deserves having you present, not thinking about work or checking in at work. Because once you check in, you are not able to check out when you close that computer. Your mind is still thinking about it. So do yourself a favor and follow these tips, at least for your next vacation, and see what happens. See how you feel. See how much more you enjoy that time. See what happens at work. And you know what? If work doesn't get along without you, then maybe it shows your company how invaluable you are. So let's jump in and get ready for your vacation mode. Number 1, give your company plenty of notice. Give your team, your manager, and anyone that relies on you for any sort of output plenty of notice when you're going to be away. For my team, I let them know well in advance. I remind them a week out and make sure to tell them to send me anything that needs my approval 2 days before my last day in the office so that I have enough time in my last 2 days in the office to review and approve anything. I also do a last call on the morning of my last day as a friendly reminder that I will not be available and to get everything in front of me. Number 2, set clear expectations and boundaries. It is okay to tell your manager that you will not be available while you're away. If you are giving plenty of notice and following the rest of my tips, then there should be no reason that you cannot take this time away to detach and decompress. And if they give you a hard time, then check out episode 104 on signs that maybe it's time to find a new job. Maybe it doesn't bother you to have to work while you're on vacation, but I really am a firm believer that everyone needs and deserves the time to detach. Your job doesn't own you. You earn this time off, and chances are you're not getting paid for the extra time and checking in or signing on while you're away. So why are you doing it? And if you are the type that needs to check in or feels better checking emails, which if you are, please work on that. But if you are, set those boundaries with yourself and with work. Maybe you do have a huge deadline that you have to keep a pulse check on. Maybe tell your manager that you'll be available until 10 a.m. on certain days so that they can check in with you or ask you questions up until that time. But after that time, you are in full vacay mode and you will not be responding. I honestly tell my team that if I get an email from them or see them online when they are away, they will get a virtual hand slap from me. And they do. Number 3, plan ahead. Look at your calendar and all of your key deliverables and make sure you are planning to complete them before you go on vacation. Or if there are things you cannot do ahead of time, maybe you have to wait for a report from someone else to do your report, or their report isn't available until a certain date, like a financial report or a sales report, then you need to plan well in advance on how your deliverable is going to get done in your absence, which is a perfect segue into number 4, plan your coverage. Make sure you have someone covering for you while you're out. If you're in the middle of a project or have some time-sensitive things that you are responsible for, make sure you have someone keeping those balls in the air. If you're not sure who that person should be, talk to your manager. If the person is your peer and not your direct report, then your manager should probably be assisting you in communicating the need to cover you while you're out to that person, especially if it's not a person that you have a relationship with, and especially if it's a person that you don't have a good relationship with. It can end up causing a lot of tension if you're the person telling them that they need to cover you. So there'll be a lot less resistance if your manager is the one telling them. Number 5, prepare your coverage. Set up meetings with whoever is covering you before you leave to bring them up to speed on any of the things that they may need to action while you're away. Loop them into whatever emails they need to follow, give them access to whatever files they may need, add them to whatever meetings they may need to attend, introduce them to any stakeholders that they may need to reach out to. Really take the time to think about all the things that may come up while you're away and what that person would need to address them. All the systems or data they may need access to, all the contacts they may need to reach out to. The more you prepare them, the more you may train them on things, the better prepared they will feel and the better you will feel mentally that you did all you could do to prepare for you being off the grid. Also, just a note, don't totally stress the person out with sending them a ton of stuff. Just put it all in one document with the links and contacts and tell them they can use it as a reference if anything comes up. Also, be prepared to return the favor when they are out of the office. So make sure you're being considerate because the tables will probably turn at some point and probably will be this summer. Number 6, set up your out-of-office automatic email reply. Once you have your coverage set up, you will need to put their contact information in your out-of-office response so that way people know who to direct questions to in your absence. If there are multiple people covering you, maybe different parts of your job have different people covering, you may want to pick one person to be the main contact and they can filter the emails to the correct responder. I usually have my direct reports put me because I know who best to send each email to once I get it. You might even have multiple names in your out of office. I have team members who cover multiple accounts, so they might have different people covering different accounts. Also know that if you use Outlook, it does allow you to set different out-of-office responses for internal emails and external emails. So you may list your different accounts and who's covering only for your internal emails, but for external, you maybe probably don't want to put a whole bunch of names in because you don't want your accounts knowing how many accounts you have. But it all depends on your company. I also make it a point to note that if their email can wait, I will respond upon my return. So hopefully that cuts down on people bothering the people that are covering for you. Number 7, block your calendar on the last day you're in the office. I block my calendar for the day before I am out of the office, or at least the afternoon, so that I have time to get everything off my plate. I have time to go through all my emails and make sure I've responded to everything. I have time for those last minute meetings and check-ins on my team members. if they need me, and time to meet with anyone that requested a meeting with me too. Number 8, start your out of office before you log off for PTO. Make sure you communicate to your manager before doing this because they may be a little sensitive about it, but it's best to have your out of office start in your last few hours in the office. So that way, if you don't get to responding to all the emails that come in before you sign off, at least they receive some sort of response from you and are not left hanging for a week or however long you're out of the office. That doesn't mean that you don't try to respond to those emails. I still try to get to all of them, letting them know that I won't be available after a certain date. I provide some sort of update and let them know who to contact or what to do in my absence. Or if it's something that I know that can wait that isn't time sensitive, it might be one of the ones that I don't get to. But I also don't want to have to respond to a ton of emails when I get back. So even if you can't do the last few hours, at least do the last hour or so you don't have the pressure of your inbox keeping you at work later than you need to be. Number 9, make a hot items list for your manager. Make a list of all the things your manager needs to be aware of while you're out. Things that might get escalated to him or her, that he or she might need to help push along in your absence. You don't want something to be escalated to your manager while you're away and have them blindsided. That is not something you want to come back to. So make a list as detailed as possible and set up a half-hour touch point before you go out to go over the list with them so that way they can ask any questions. I actually took it a step further with my manager, but that's also because I have so many accounts. I started a Teams channel. If your company uses Teams, highly recommend it. Just for when I'm going out on a longer vacation, I put any files, emails, or links that she may need for reference while I'm away. If it's a file, I usually do a separate post per file saying what it is and what might need to be done with it or what it references. That may be overkill, but if it's something that I'm working on, it's usually higher profile or an escalation from my team. So I want to make sure it's as simple as possible for her. I'm also taking into account how busy she is, so I don't want to add to any stress on her plate because I'm very grateful that she's given me 2 weeks off because not all managers would do that. Number 10, delete your work apps from your phone. If you don't have a separate company phone that you could just leave at home or hide in your suitcase, then do yourself a favor and delete the work apps from your phone while you're on vacation. Or at a minimum, turn off all the notifications and put those apps on the last screen on your phone so there is a lot less temptation to look at them. The more friction you put between yourself and those apps, the better chance you have of sticking to those boundaries. And this is a bonus tip, number 11. This is more for your sanity when you get back to the office. Do yourself a favor and block your calendar for at least the morning of your first day back at work. I block the first few hours of my first day back at work to give me time to settle in and really get a head start in digging out of my inbox. This doesn't prevent people from booking over that time, and if they do, it is what it is, but I at least attempt to have that time to skim my email, see what's important and what might be time sensitive. I also send a note out to my team reminding them that I'm back in the office and if there is anything pressing or time sensitive to let me know so I know what I need to prioritize. Well, I really hope you found this episode helpful, and I hope it gave you the confidence and the permission you may have felt you needed to detach on your vacation this year. Remember, you earn this time off. It is yours. You are probably not getting paid extra for logging in while you're away. And if you have a good manager, then they should be encouraging you to take this time off and to be present with your family. Your kids are only little for so long. You only have so many summers with them. So you don't want them looking back on their vacations and remembering that mommy was stressed and that mommy was working. Nor do you. For more time-saving and work-life balance tips, head on over and hang out with us in my free Facebook community, Work-Life Balance for Working Moms. And also make sure to hit that follow button on my podcast so that you never miss another episode. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Kerri Patt. Before you go, if you found this podcast helpful, I would be so grateful if you would take a minute, go on over to iTunes and leave me a review. If you have other stressed out mamas in your life that you feel this podcast could help, take a screenshot of this episode, post it on your Instagram stories and tag me, and let them know that they are not alone and they can create balance in their life too. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover or you just want to connect, DM me on Instagram at mom.wife.career.life or come on over and hang out in our free Facebook community, Work-Life Balance for Working Moms. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Kerri Patt.